All right, we are back, everybody. Welcome back once again to XAR on Twitch and XAR on YouTube as we continue with our game, Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. This is part 2 of what will be 2 parts to tonight's stream. Just to recap, we began 7 o'clock Eastern tonight, and we had to take a quick break. So we are back with part 2, which will go until 10 p.m. Eastern or thereabouts. JR joining you once again, and once again joining us, we have Mr. Neff Canuck. Hello, sir.
Good evening, sir.
We have Shinigami Liz. Hi, Liz.
Hello, hello.
We have Bree in the room, who popped in soon after we started the first stream. Hello, Bree.
Hello.
And we have Karam. Hi, Karam.
Hello, everyone.
All right, so what's your latest update from Hockeyland, Neff, before we continue?
Not good news, and oh, I just realized they're showing us highlights from the last New York Rangers game of the season. Why is that important? Because the play-by-play man, Sam Rosen, is retiring after 40 years, and this is his final game because the Rangers
that's
didn't
right.
win. Yeah, so I'm not be able to watch it live, but I will watch the replay at some point tomorrow, probably.
I'm sure they're gonna have some. They've done a few things already for him too. So.
But this is his penultimate game at home, so yeah, I
Right.
expect it to be one of those. It's not a dry eye in the house.
Exactly. Yep. Well, all right. Salute to Sam Rosen then as we go on here tonight. All right. So we're interviewing this elitist person, that being Frigga, and we've been Celeste has been pretending that she is a noble and that Tyrion Cuthbert is her right hand, basically. And Celeste has been kind of going along with Tyrion's plan of pretending to be another noble, using the Steelwind last name to try to get more information about her with regards to this case. So we're going to continue the chat now and see what else she can tell us. Frigga loathes Arya Steelwind, but respects the other Steelwind nobility in general. You said something about my wayward relative before. Oh, that was in a reaction to one of her earlier questions where Frigga brought that up. Were you talking about Arya? Miriam Frigga. Oh, I'm terribly sorry if I offended you. But I'm sure it must pain you to see the way that she's been acting lately. Yes, it's been extremely hard. Hang in there, Celeste. Did you know that she even interrogated me about the murder yesterday? Can you believe it? A Steelwind running around a crime scene like a common knight? Why, if I tried something like that, my father would disown me. Does the nobility not approve of Steelwind becoming a prosecutor? That's what we sort of alluded to when we spoke to her in the first part here. You always thought that it is strange. What is motivating her to do this? Honestly, she probably thinks she can do anything just because her betrothed. Aster deserves better. Oh, so she's betrothed too. Celeste's eyes perk up upon hearing this. You'd be lying if you weren't also curious about who this Aster is, but you shoot her a stern look that tells her to stay focused. You can't risk blowing your cover for some gossip. You have an arcane construct in your room. I thought they only had them in the library and the locker room. This construct was a gift from House von Sanctus. I have to say they're quite convenient to have around. They look really cool. Maybe I should get one. You should. A construct would be far more useful than this attendant of yours. Unfortunately, there are still some issues with their intelligence. Their intelligence? There are issues when you give them complex commands. It might be easier to show you. Miriam turns to the construct and begins gesturing toward it. Construct, please retrieve my textbooks and bring them here. Then cast Steelwind Strike at this location. After that, retrieve some plates and set them out at this table. Acknowledged. What? The construct stands up and retrieves Miriam textbooks from one of the shelves in the room. It brings them to the table you're sitting at, just like she ordered. But then it suddenly stops moving. Wait, what happened? The construct obviously cast Steel Wind Strike, so my second command was impossible to carry out. But did you notice something else? It ignored your third command too. Correct, my third command was possible to be carried out, so why did it ignore that command? Constructs execute a series of commands in the order that they are given. But let's say one of those tasks is impossible to complete. When the construct gets to that task, it will deem the entire series impossible to complete. It's kind of like something written in basic code runs into an error, I guess. As a result, it will stop executing the series altogether. So if a task in a series of commands is impossible, then that command will interrupt the sequence of commands. Exactly. Construct's logic limitation. Okay. Lady Steelwind, I'm afraid we must leave now. We want to make our next engagement. Oh, right. Let's go, servant. Oh, leaving already. It was a pleasure talking to you. Yeah, sure. I hope to see you around. You make your way back to the foyer with Celeste. With all that time you spent, you've only have a brief amount of time before night falls. Are you sure you didn't want to talk to her more? We were getting a lot out of her. We already got a lot of useful information out of her. The more time we spend with her, the more likely she is to see through our ruse. Right, so why Steelwind? Why she chose that name? I don't know, I panicked. Arya is like the only noble I know. What about Pierce? I'm not using that creep's name. Well, hopefully Steelwind doesn't mind us borrowing her name. Whoops. And we got her statement on what she saw that day. There's also what she said about her rapier. I bet she was lying when she said it was stolen. She's probably trying to establish an alibi. I'm not so sure. Why do you say that? Doesn't it feel too obvious that she was lying about the rapier being stolen? That would imply she planned all of this in advance. But if she had to choose a murder weapon, why would she choose something that literally has her name on it? I'd understand if the murder was a spur-of-the-moment decision. She might have just used something nearby in this case. But if this was premeditated murder committed by Miriam, the rapier would be the last weapon she would choose. Right, I guess that makes sense. There's also the evidence of academic dishonesty. It doesn't match up with what we've heard from Miriam. You mean all that stuff about working with the Crown Prince? She's probably just making things up to look good in front of me. I have an insight when it comes to things like this. Under normal circumstances, I can usually tell when someone is lying. And as lie as grandiose as that would be something I would definitely see through. People can subconsciously shield themselves from the eye of Horus even if they don't know about it. But when they do that, you usually can't see any thoughts from them. You also saw that she was lying about her encounter with Bellwether. You would have seen dissonant thoughts if she was lying about her grades. Well, I guess I'll trust your insight, but what does this mean? I don't know. Even with everything we've found, I'm still not sure who the real culprit is. At the very least, I think we should still try to pull Miriam onto the stand. If she testifies in court, I might be able to find something I can use. But that's a big maybe. If you don't play your cards right, you might spook the Friggas enough for them to pay off the judge. Either way, it's getting late. We'll probably have to turn in soon. Yeah, you just hope you did enough to acquit Wallace. Would you like to save your progress? Why, yes, I would. And save one, please. Thank you. Here's my favorite animation right here. That. Before he throws the gavel. The judge and Ace Attorney has to do that, frankly. Court is now resumed for the trial of Wallace Nightgrave. Let us review the proceedings from yesterday. It was revealed that trace of necromancy may not have been left by the defendant. It may have been left by a witness who used necromancy to attempt to heal the victim. However, the victim was seen by witnesses well after her time of death. This can only be explained by the defendant using necromancy to animate the victim's body. This leaves the question, where did the murder take place? Does the prosecution have an answer for this? Based on the testimonies of several witnesses, it is very likely the murder took place in the library. Interesting. What led you to this conclusion, Miss Steelwind? First, I'd like to remind the court where the victim was sighted before the body was found. It began when the victim had a meeting with the headmaster near the center of the building. Our meeting was scheduled for 12 p.m. According to my schedule for that day, our meeting lasted for an hour. This brings us to the statement of the next witness, a student at the academy. The student saw the victim walking in the hallways. I saw her coming out of the headmaster's office. She was heading towards the library. Which means that our first witness saw Bellwether leave the headmaster's office. Presumably this would have happened after her meeting there. That would time this encounter at around 1 p.m. The other event is the discovery of the body, which was when Valentina Ianis contacted security. I suddenly spotted the professor lying in a pool of blood in the classroom. Valentina used a communication device to call for help while I tried to save her. As we've already established, this event occurred at 3:04 p.m., but the significance of this time is in what occurred before the body was discovered. The second witness, a member of the cleaning staff, spotted the victim in the West Wing hallway. Bellwether knocked over a vase, and there were shards and dirt everywhere. It was probably 20 to 30 minutes before the twins found the body. This means that this encounter must have happened no later than 2:30 p.m., and this implies that the victim was near the library between 1 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. According to the defendant's statements, he was in the library during this time period. Furthermore, the time of death was 2:07 p.m. This means that Mr. Hughes saw the victim's animated body. There is Steelwind's deduction, quote-unquote, for the entire timeline we just spoke about. I see, your deduction certainly tracks, Miss Steelwind. What do you have to say in your defense, Mr. Cuthbert? The prosecution's argument is definitely well thought out, Your Honor. However, it is entirely predicated on the testimonies of all the witnesses involved. Steelwind's deduction has to have a hole somewhere, and since your conversation yesterday, you've had a feeling that Miriam is hiding something. If you want to get to the truth, you'll need to drag that out of her through a cross-examination. I hit the wrong button again. Your Honor, to test the validity of these claims, the defense would like both of these witnesses to testify. The defense calls Miriam Friga to the stand. Well, here we go. Friga! At the mention of her name, the judge's face turns a bit pale. I had a feeling it would come to this. Do you have any objections, Miss Steelwind? I do not, Your Honor. Very well. Bailiff, please escort Lady Friga to the stand. Uh-oh. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the... You little snakes! How dare you deceive me? Oh, it looks like she found out. I had the opportunity to debrief the witness beforehand. Miss McCoy, for the record, I told you to exercise discretion. I did not mean that you should impersonate a member of my family. Yeah, sorry about that. I gave you all the tea that I imported from the Eastern Kingdoms. I demand that you return it to me. No, you gave them to me. They're legally mine now. Ahem. I'm not sure what your business with the witness is, Miss McCoy, but I'd ask that you please handle your personal disputes outside of the courtroom. Anyways, Miriam, could you please testify to the court about your encounter with the victim? Very well. I was working on a research project in my dorm room when I decided to take a break. I left my room and went on a walk. That's when I saw Professor Bellwether exiting the headmaster's office. She was walking in my direction, so I greeted her and she responded in kind. After that, she headed towards the library. A short time after that, I went back to my room and continued my work. So it was only a brief encounter. However brief it was, the witness's testimony verifies two things. One is that Miss Friga saw the professor exiting the headmaster's office. The other is that she witnessed the victim head toward the library. This gives us a rough timeline of where the victim was before her death. That does seem consistent. Did Bellwether really enter the library that day? You feel like you would have seen her there if she did. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Ugh. Let's see. Was this research project a part of your schoolwork? It was an independent study to develop a new conjuration spell formula. Project is being sponsored by the Crown Prince himself. Uh-oh. I wasn't aware that he was involved in such a study. Of course you wouldn't. Did you expect to know every aspect of his life, dear Arya? You sense a bit of aggression. If you don't keep an eye on him, House Frege might just steal him back from you. As if his highness would align himself with your rapacious family. Our banking houses form the economic infrastructure of our kingdom, but perhaps he'll come to the Steelwinds if he needs to clear a den of goblins. With all due respect, can we please focus on the matter at hand? Of course, Your Honor. I left my room and went on a walk. That's when I saw Professor Bellwether exiting the headmaster's office. You're sure that you saw her exit the headmaster's office? Yes, I remember it clearly. I was surprised she was still meeting with the headmaster at all. She must be talking about how they were plotting to replace him. Did you interact with the professor at all, Miriam? She was walking in my direction, so I greeted her and she responded in kind. Did anything seem off about her? No, but it was a very short encounter. It's not as if we stopped to have a conversation. You said that you greeted her and she responded. What words did she use? Why is that important? Oh. Miss Frigga, it's possible that someone used illusion magic that day. Every detail about the victim's interactions could be important. Well, I bid her good morning, and she said good morning in response. After that, she headed toward the library. Did you see her enter the library? I didn't, but there's not much else in that direction. From the testimony of Yan Yuz, we know that she later came from the library. Even if she didn't enter the library, she was still in that area for more than an hour. A short time after that, I went back to my room and continued my work. How long did you leave your dorm room? Only for a few minutes. I try not to let my breaks go for too long. You didn't see the professor again after your first encounter? No, I did not. Her testimony seems pretty straightforward, but she could still be lying. I'm honestly not sure. We'll just have to focus on her statements about how Bellwether acted. Okay, let's save again. Save here. Okay, is there anything we can present? Let's see. We have these latest things that come into mind. Steelwind's deduction shows Miriam Frigga saw Bellwether walking in the hallways. Doesn't mention that they spoke. Construct loggage, limitation, Bellwether's plan. And the rapier, and the evidence of academic dishonesty. Okay, Neff, do you have any thoughts?
I was working on a research project in my dorm room when I decided to take a break. I left my room and went on a walk, then I saw Professor Bellwether exiting the headmaster's office. She was walking towards me, so I bid her good morning, and she responded in kind.
Should we see maybe... Yeah, this is the part. Should we see if we can amend the deduction to add that fact, maybe?
I think so.
Let's see. We have it saved.
Objection!
Miss Frigga, if I recall correctly, you have a habit of getting absorbed in your work. So much so that you'll even lose track of the time of day. Yes, but what does that have to do with my testimony? Earlier in today's proceedings, the prosecutor made the following argument. Our first witness saw Bellwether leave the meeting with the headmaster. That would time this encounter at around 1 p.m. Miss Frigga, if you had said good morning to the professor... Oh! If you had said good morning to the professor, you would have been mistaken. Aha! Because that encounter could have only happened during the afternoon. Well, that went right under our noses. And your point is... You said it yourself, Mr. Cuthbert. The witness simply lost track of time. What the witness said isn't what's important here. The significance isn't what the professor said in response. She had just come out of a meeting that was scheduled for noon. She would be well aware that it was no longer morning, so why would she respond good morning? Wouldn't she have corrected the witness? Their encounter was extremely short, and the victim's mind may have been preoccupied. To be fair, sometimes I wish people good morning at work in the afternoon too, so... She could have easily responded to the witness without thinking. I'm going to be honest, I kind of agree with her. Not hard to believe that they were both confused about the time. It's definitely a stretch, but you still can't shake the feeling that she's hiding something. Every time you ask her about how Bellwether acted that day, the eye picks something up. There has to be something there. Miss Frege, you haven't been entirely truthful in your testimony, have you? That's absurd. What reason would I have to lie? It's such a small detail. What does it even care? Every detail about how she acted is important, Miss Frege. What aren't you telling us? Mr. Cuthbert, you have no basis to accuse the witness of perjury. Yes, you will stop this at once. Miss Frege, you're lying about how Bellwether responded to your greeting, aren't you? It doesn't make a difference. All she did was yell at me. All she did was yell? Miss Frege, is it possible that Bellwether's response was less than friendly? What do you care? What difference does it make? Why is he being so persistent? My job is to make sure every part of your testimony is truthful. Every detail matters, no matter how seemingly insignificant. Mr. Cuthbert, you will stop this or I will find you in contempt. Uh-oh, now he's standing up to Frege. The professor yelled at you, didn't she, Miss Frege? So what if she did? I mean, I'm sorry, but there's no going back on what you just said. So you do admit that she yelled at you. You impertinent little... Yes, I admit it. The professor didn't greet me back that day. Oh, good morning, Professor. Be quiet. Oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Interesting choice of words there.
She yelled at me to be quiet, but until then we had always been nothing but courteous with each other. I don't know what got into her that day, but something put her in a foul mood. So that was somebody else with an illusion and muttering those words that Bellwether, according to Frege, would not say. If I got it right.
I know what that was.
Okay, Neff?
That was one of them that are automatons.
Aha!
Because it don't know much. It don't say much. So
you're saying the automaton illusioned... Wait, can an automaton illusion?
No, the automaton was being covered by an illusion to look like Bellwether.
Okay. I see. Somebody cast the illusion on the construct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But that's it. Everything else I said was the truth. They'll believe me, right? I did see her come out of the headmaster's office and walk toward the library. That part is true. So she wasn't lying about that. So is that all, Mr. Cuthbert? What do you mean, is that all? You badgered this witness, so you could prove what exactly? The witness committed perjury. The witness changed a small detail of her testimony, a detail that is inconsequential to the case. It was clearly an act with no malicious intent. After seeing her thoughts, it's hard to disagree with that. You were so sure that the eye would lead you somewhere. But Frege was only lying to save face. The witness saw the victim leave the headmaster's office and head toward the library. Do you have any concrete evidence to refute that, Mr. Cuthbert? No, I suppose I don't. Wait, is this really okay? At this rate, this will be the only chance you have to cross-examine her. I don't think she's lying anymore, and I was really pushing my luck earlier. If I continue pressing her, the judge might actually charge me with contempt. But if Miriam isn't the one that's lying, then... The defense has no further questions for the witness, Miss Steelwind. The prosecutor stays silent for a while. She almost looks disappointed. Very well, Miriam, you are dismissed. Miriam still looks like she's fuming, but she leaves the room without protest. The judge breathes a sigh of relief as the young noble is escorted out of the room. Now with that out of the way, what else do you have, Mr. Cuthbert? The only way to refute the prosecutor's theory is to cast doubt on one of the witnesses. If it wasn't Miriam, then... Steelwind, to test your theory, we must question every witness that saw the victim that day. So with that said, the defense would like to call Jan Hughes to the stand. I hope you understand, Mr. Cuthbert, your entire case rests on the assumption that one of the witness accounts is incorrect. If your cross-examination of Mr. Hughes leads nowhere, then I hope you're ready to concede. You don't like the sound of it, but she's right. Unless you can find something in Jan's testimony, you won't really have anything to disprove her theory. Bailiff, please bring in Mr. Hughes. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the courtroom. Witness, name and occupation. Right. My name is Jan Hughes. I'm on the cleaning staff at the academy. Mr. Hughes, please testify to the court about your encounter with the professor that day. Sure. That easy, huh? I saw the professor when I was cleaning the West Wing hallways. It was about 20 to 30 minutes before the body was discovered. She walked by me, but she looked pretty out of it. I heard she was undead when this happened. Pretty creepy, if you ask me. After that, she went into the empty classroom. Well, that was straightforward. Come on, Jan, what are we supposed to do with that? I don't know. You guys are the lawyers. I'm just telling you what I saw. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Huh. Okay. Save. Saw the professor when I was cleaning the West Wing hallways about 20 to 30 minutes before the body was discovered. How are you so sure that it was 30 minutes before? I always check the time to make sure I'm on schedule. I was supposed to finish cleaning the halls by 3 p.m. Right, the body was discovered at 3:04. What was the professor like, Mr. Hughes? She walked by me, but she looked pretty out of it. Did anything else look off about her? I mean, yeah, she wasn't undead after all. That remains to be proven. If you say so. Anyways, what was her demeanor like? She looked like she was in a bad mood. Either that or she was tired. But I guess she was just dead inside. Literally. I heard she was undead when this happened. Pretty creepy if you ask me. I believe you've forgotten a few details about what the professor did. Yeah? Sorry, it's hard to remember these things sometimes. Which details did you ask him for? Did she do anything to you? Did she touch anything? Did she make any sounds? Okay. Well, Liz, your turn. Which details should you ask him about?
Well, we know she touched the vase.
Right.
And she made a sound. She yelled at him. So I'm going to say the first one. Did she do anything to you?
Did she interact with you at all? Oh, yeah. I didn't notice her at first and I accidentally got in her way. She shoved me to the side and kept walking forward. This detail could be extremely important. Please add it to your testimony, Mr. Hughes. Whatever you say, man. After that, she went into the empty classroom. Did you see anyone else enter that classroom? I'm honestly not sure. I wasn't paying much attention to her. I did think it was weird that she went in there. With the funky smell, I can't think of why anyone would go there willingly. Right, the headmaster's mistake put a rancid smell in that room. He's not giving us a lot to work with. He tends to leave out details unless we directly ask him about it. Just need to ask him the right questions. Maybe we can pull more information out of him. Okay. I heard she was undead, which is pretty creepy because she pushed me out of the way. I guess we'll press this. I believe you've forgotten a few details about what the professor did, yeah? Sorry, it's hard to remember these things. Which details should you ask him for? Oh, okay. So we check this off. Are we supposed to present something at that point?
I think you're supposed to draw more information out of him.
By clicking these? Okay. Did she touch anything? Oh yeah, she knocked over a vase and shattered it. It might have been an accident, but she does stuff like that on purpose before. Okay. So I'm gonna go back. And now we'll... Here she was in there, which is pretty creepy because she knocked over a vase. Okay, now we're gonna do... Did she make any sounds? Did you hear her make any sounds? Oh yeah, after she knocked over the vase, she yelled at me to be quiet. Ah! But I didn't even say anything. This detail could be extremely important. Please add it to your testimony. Okay. Now, if we press this, it's pretty creepy because she yelled at me. Alright, well, these three are checked out.
Actually, no, it's not checked off.
Oh, well, we clicked it. She yelled at me to be quiet. Okay. So we need to present something on one of those three statements. But which one? Let me save here. Now, I want to, after I heard Neff's theory, I want to look at something. Which is one of the spells that makes you walk around while you're dead? Is it this one? Animate Corpse? Okay. Reanimates the target using life energy, creating an undead minion for the duration. The minion follows the caster's orders, but its intelligence is limited and it cannot speak. It cannot speak!
Yeah.
See?
So if he says that it was animated, then that's a contradiction. So I actually just stumbled upon that. Mr. Hughes, you said that Bellwether yelled at you. What were her exact words? I think that she yelled at me to be quiet. What? I thought it was weird. I didn't even say anything, but I know better than to talk back to her. That's the thing, Hughes. The prosecution's theory is as such. The professor was murdered in the library and was reanimated using Animate Corpse. With a quick illusion spell, no one would notice that she was undead. However, if what you saw was truly the undead Bellwether, how did she speak to you? Huh? This doesn't make any sense. Mr. Hughes, undead can follow simple orders, but they don't have the intelligence to speak. Perhaps the witness was mistaken. No, I'm sure I heard her yell at me. I remembered because what she said didn't make any sense. Exactly. He didn't say anything, but she still yelled at him to be quiet. Wait a minute. I'm afraid I don't understand. We've already established that the victim was dead long before her encounter with Mr. Hughes. But if what he saw wasn't an undead, what was it?
What?
It had to be an undead. What other explanation is there? Couldn't have been a major illusion, otherwise it wouldn't have been able to shove Jan out of the way or knock over the vase. Whatever it was, someone probably used illusory disguise to make it look like Bellwether. Does that mean it was a person? No. If it was a person, how did Bellwether's body end up in the lecture hall? Bellwether wouldn't have been able to turn herself invisible if she was dead. And whatever Jan saw needs to be something that could have transported Bellwether's body unseen. Ergo, the arcane construct. But all also needed to have a mass and the ability to speak, like the arcane construct. What created Bellwether's voice? Or at very least, it needs to be something that can recreate Bellwether's voice. You know, like the arcane constructs. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. The arcane constructs. That's it. Do you have an answer for us, Mr. Cuthbert? What did the witness actually see? Your Honor, the witness didn't actually hear the dead victim speaking. What he actually heard was her voice being recreated using magic. Are you trying to say her voice was recreated using a spell? Not a spell, Steelwind. It was artificery. And whoever the murderer is, they had the perfect piece of artificery available to them. One program with Catherine Bellwether's voice. Ugh. You can't possibly mean... That's right, Steelwind. What Mr. Hughes saw was an arcane construct. An arcane construct? Think of it as a magically animated suit of armor, Your Honor. We ruled out such a possibility, hadn't we? Construct or not, no one could disguise themselves and carry the body to the classroom. A person wouldn't have been able to do it. But arcane constructs are a different thing entirely. Those suits of armor are extremely large, but more importantly, they're hollow. I see. That means that theoretically someone could have placed the victim's body inside it. The arcane construct wouldn't just transport the body, with an illusory disguise would also confuse and mislead anyone who saw it.
Objection!
Uh-oh. I commend your deduction, Mr. Cuthbert. I would have never considered that possibility. Certainly plausible, but what does this prove exactly? It proves that the body wasn't animated using necromancy. My client isn't the murderer. The defendant is still capable of performing all the acts that you described. His compendium contains illusory disguise, after all. There were several students in the library that day. Any of them could have committed the murder. One might come to that conclusion if they didn't have one crucial piece of evidence. I'd like to present a new piece of evidence to the court. From under her table, you see Miss Steelwind pull out the bloody rapier. Blood, is that? Yes, Your Honor. This is the murder weapon. Ah, she was saving that for the perfect moment, wasn't she? This rapier was reported stolen by Miriam Friga weeks before the murder. During the investigation, it was finally found in the defendant's locker, which we thought was swapped around on the nameplates. Wait, he was clearly trying to use one of her possessions in a paltry attempt to frame her. Why, he even stole her locker's nameplate and placed it over his. Damn it, that's not what happened, but honestly, it sounds more plausible than what really took place. We're basically back to square one, aren't we? Anyone could have told that construct to do all those things. Wait, anyone? Is that really true? The construct transported the professor's body, and someone used an illusion to make it look like her. They even used a pre-recorded voice to make the illusion more convincing. Who ordered the construct to hide the body? Could anyone have done that? Uh-oh. Who ordered the construct to hide the body? Frege. Couldn't have been Hughes. Valerie is an unregistered mage. Theodore Redmond. Illusion? That's interesting. Catherine Bellwether, illusion. Necromancy. Ilmater is illusion. Orm White. Area. No. Okay. Well, just based on that, the two people who study illusion are Eris Ilmater and Theodore Redmond.
And
Which
Theodore
one of
Redmond
these
was about to be replaced.
Yeah.
So maybe he found out and decided, you know what? I don't like that plan. I got a new one.
I like your thinking. Several memories flood back to you. Mr. Hughes, you said that Bellwether yelled at you. What were her exact words? I think she yelled at me to be quiet. She yelled at me to be quiet, but until then we had always been nothing but courteous with each other. I don't know what got into her that day, but something put her in a foul mood. Be quiet. Sorry. Be quiet. Eris begins giggling. She seems amused by what's happening. The construct's voice is just a series of pre-recorded messages. I'm not sure if you noticed, but it uses the voice of Professor Bellwether. Unfortunately, you can't make them say anything other than what's recorded. Only the headmaster can change those settings! No, it can't be him. What is it, Tyrion? Did you figure something out? I did. But is he seriously the one behind all of this? Miss Steelwood, earlier you said that my client could have orchestrated this entire ruse. But that's simply not true. How so? Anyone could have ordered the construct to carry out the victim's body. Yes, but not everyone can change what the constructs are able to say. Only one individual has the credentials for that. Theodore Redmond, headmaster of the Imperial Academy. Wait, you're not serious, are you? You think the headmaster did all this? I don't want to believe it, but he's the only person who could have done it. That's completely ridiculous. Headmaster Redmond would never do something like this. Miss Steelwind, there's one common element between each of the witnesses' encounters with Bellwether. It's what Bellwether said to them. She yelled at both of them to be quiet. Miriam Friga was particularly surprised. She had a good relationship with the professor, but when greeted by the professor, Bellwether just shouted at her, almost as if the professor was responding indiscriminately. And recall her encounter with Jan Hughes. The professor knocked over a vase and shouted at him to be quiet immediately after, even though he hadn't said anything. She was responding to the sound of the vase breaking. Now let me ask you this, Steelwind. Where did Bellwether come from before she encountered Miss Friga and Mr. Hughes? Her meeting with the headmaster. Yes. Order! It appears that the defense truly means to indict Theodore Redmond. If so, we have no choice but to take a brief recess until he can be brought here. There's no need. Oh, hello. Fortunately for you, I'm already in the gallery. The headmaster stood up from the gallery seats behind you and slowly walked onto the witness stand. He's been here the entire time. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Cuthbert, but do you think I am the one who committed this crime? I'm sorry, Redmond, but no matter how I look at it, everything I found points at you. No, there's no need to apologize. In fact, I should commend you on the lengths that you're going to defend dear Wallace. The court appreciates your understanding, Mr. Redmond. Oh. Now then, to clear the air, I suppose I should give my testimony on what happened that day. Well. That day I had a meeting scheduled with the professor at noon. She showed up at the expected time and we discussed various administrative matters. Our meeting went on for an hour, after which she left to prepare for her next class. Despite our many disagreements, we still knew how to be civil with one another. After all, I had no reason to bear a personal grudge against her. Ba bum ba ba. I just can't see it. He seems like such a nice person. Is he really the person we're looking for? He has to be. No one else could have orchestrated this entire plot. You just need to find out how and why. Well, yeah, let's see here. This is all courtroom. I'm going to lose track of courtrooms. Let's see here. Where do we see that? House Frigg was planning to fire Headmaster Theodore Redmond and replace him with Catherine Bellwether. They were also planning to fire the Academy staff. So in the interest of time, I think I would just like to go over here. After all, I had no reason to bear a personal grudge against her. Yeah, you did. This guy. You in agreement, or is there anything else you'd like to see?
Let's cut to the chase.
Yep. Redmond, did you really hold no animosity toward Professor Bellwether? Of course not. I did have strong opinions about her methods of teaching, but I always remained professional. We both did. Frankly, I find that hard to believe. In fact, I think you might have had a very good reason to murder the professor, considering that she was going to take your job. What? So you knew about that. I'm sorry, but I don't follow. Just how was the professor going to take the headmaster's job? According to Miriam Frigga, Catherine Bellwether was currying favor with the noble families. In fact, there was a plan to oust Mr. Redmond and appoint Bellwether as the new headmaster of the academy. What? But in any case, I doubt that the headmaster had any idea of this until now. I'd like to remind the court of the witness's reaction just now. He said, "So you knew about that." His reaction was one of surprise. But he wasn't surprised by this information. He was surprised that I knew this information. That's... Please, dear Arya, I may be a frail old man, but I'm perfectly capable of defending myself. If you have an explanation, Mr. Redmond, then by all means I'd love to hear it. Gladly. More testimony. It is true that I knew about the Frigga's plot beforehand, but I'd only just learned about it. On the day of the murder, the professor told me about her plan. She was going to replace me as headmaster and replace the staff with her arcane constructs. Now you might say that this would have given me the perfect motive to murder the professor. However, the supposed murder weapon was stolen from Miss Frigga. This happened weeks before the murder and my discovery of the professor's treachery. I had no knowledge of their plan before she told me, and therefore I wouldn't have known to steal Miss Frigga's weapon and attempt to frame her. Are you satisfied now, Mr. Cuthbert? There's no way the headmaster's going to come up with this plan. If he really did this, then it means he stole the rapier too, right? Most likely. His alibi makes sense. He couldn't have planned this whole thing unless he knew about Bellwether's plans. Tell me he knew about this weeks ago. But how did he even find out? The best way to tell a convincing lie is to leave a lot of truth and only change one detail. Maybe Bellwether did tell him, but she actually told him weeks ago. The question is, how do you prove that? So Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Let's save again. It shouldn't forget Papa Boy. I only just learned about it. I guess we'll press. You only learned about it recently. Doesn't that seem a bit too convenient for you? It may appear that way, yes, but... On the day of the murder, the professor told me about her plan. She was going to replace me as headmaster and replace the staff with her arcane constructs. I thought this was determined in advance, no? That's what we're alluding to. See what this said again. This was supposed to be kept a secret, but according to Jan, Bellwether revealed this plan to the headmaster during a meeting a few weeks ago. Ergo, I think we present this again with regards to this section right here. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Redmond, you keep saying you didn't know about Bellwether's plot before yesterday. Do you still plan on standing behind that claim? Of course I am, because it's the truth. I'm sorry, Redmond, but you should really close your doors during your meetings. Did someone see? It is true that Bellwether revealed her plan to you during one of your meetings. In fact, Jan Hughes happened to overhear that same meeting, but he only overheard the part where the staff would be replaced. And that's the strangest part, Redmond. According to Mr. Hughes, this meeting occurred weeks ago. You can't accuse the headmaster of perjury based on a rumor. Everything you've just said is based on second-hand information. Mr. Hughes distinctly overheard that the staff will be replaced with arcane constructs. That is too specific and too accurate to assume that he misheard a different conversation. The professor probably only revealed her plan for the arcane constructs. That still doesn't prove that he knew about her treachery beforehand. Professor Bellwether had no authority over the cleaning staff's employment. It wouldn't make sense for her to just reveal her plan for the arcane constructs. That would only make sense if he knew that Bellwether would be taking his job. So tell me one thing, Redmond. Why did you find the need to lie about this? Is it because you saw a need to protect yourself from my accusations? Redmond, I asked you a question. Did you murder Catherine Bellwether? Oh! Look at his demeanor now. It's like the spotlight's been turned off. What a fine mess this is. I'm not done, not yet. Headmaster! So you truly plan on pushing this, are you? Well, your thesis sounded promising, Mr. Cuthbert, but I believe your arguments could use a little work. Oh no. Argument. We're in the argument phase, which means we cannot save. I missed what he said. What did he say? Did anybody catch it?
No, I think we went too fast.
I clicked too fast. We have to go on. I am an elderly man in his late 80s. I was alone and had nothing to overpower Bellwether with. I can barely walk, much less wield a rapier.
Except he has control of, guess what?
These guys?
Constructs.
Yeah.
But you and Bellwether weren't the only people in that room, were you? You needed the arcane construct to carry Bellwether's body. That means that the construct would have already been in your office. And with your privileges, you could have easily programmed the construct to stab Bellwether for you. Oh. So we indict the construct then. Even so, think about what would have transpired afterward. Recall Miss Steelwood's timeline of Bellwether's witnesses. With your theory, the construct would have spent more than an hour in the library. Having it there would have risked my so-called ruse from being discovered. Luckily, Lady Frigga can't tell night from day. Ooh, boy. I wouldn't have the construct linger around the library. Luckily, Lady Frigga can't tell night from day. So we have anger and fear. So, this is a logic, intuition, empathy question. So let's review the responses. So we hover over each and we give the response that we would give. Use this against claims that contradict a piece of evidence. Use this against claims that contradict thoughts seen through the eye. Use this against claims that contradict the displayed emotion. So I don't think it's logic. It's got to be one of these two. I'm curious about luckily Lady Frigga can't tell night from day.
Yeah, that one's a little what?
So it's either going to be that or the emotions relate to his actual speech. I wouldn't have the construct linger around the library. So these emotions seem to be concurrent to that. So, yeah, intuition, I guess, if you guys are fine with that.
Yep.
The timing deduced from Miss Frigga's testimony is predicated on one thing. She and Miss Bellwether exit your office after your meeting. However, if we assume that you're lying about when this meeting ended, your entire argument falls apart. Miss Frigga would have encountered Bellwether after her death at 2:01 p.m. Miss Frigga wouldn't have made a mistake like that. Miss Frigga thought it was morning when she saw Bellwether. She can't reliably tell the time. Oof. Then what about where the rapier was placed? If I really was the murderer, then that would mean I planted the weapon in young Wallace's locker. Several of the students had lockers there that I had access to. I wouldn't have placed incriminating evidence in that locker. Wallace is one of my prized students. If I had to frame anyone, he would be the last person I chose. Present. Well, then I would present the section that mentions how the students played trick on Wallace and flipped the names on the locker, right? Or something to that effect?
Yep.
All right, so let's see what we have. I'm gonna have to hunt this down. No. 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 Maybe this one. Someone must have switched the ID numbers to Miriam's locker. Let me look at the other things, but I think that construct in the locker room, 4-pillar family, Steel One's orders, Jan's statement, compendium. Yeah, I think, Master Experience Call Sport. Yeah, I think we go with this. This one, evidence in the locker. You're right, Mr. Redmond. You wouldn't try to frame Wallace, but you would try to frame Miriam Frigga. Oh, who? It would have been the perfect act of revenge, wouldn't it? You murder your treacherous coworker and frame the daughter of the family that helped her. But something went wrong, didn't it, Redmond? The labels on Wallace's locker and Miriam's locker were switched. Anyone who saw that would have easily mixed them up. I am the headmaster of the Imperial Academy. I have records of all the students' lockers and where they're located. There's no reason I would make a mistake like that. If I truly planned this, I would have known where Wallace's locker was. A simple change in labels wouldn't have led me to make a careless mistake like that.
Except...
The constructs again?
Uh-huh.
Okay. But it wasn't you, was it? Your arcane construct... Okay, yeah. Your arcane construct was the one who planted the rapier in the locker. Now I see where this is going. Oh, we got him again. I bet you commanded it to place this rapier in the locker of Miriam Frigga, but it saw the ID number on Wallace's locker and assumed that it was Miriam's. This is... Roman begins desperately stammering, looking for something to say. Miss Steelwind, say something. What? Mr. Cuthbert, your theory may be plausible, but there's no evidence to support it. Ha, that's right. You don't have any proof, do you? There's no evidence of my orders? Saying that I could have committed the murder isn't the same as proving I did it. Well, you had that construct in the locker room, right?
Yeah, and it keeps records of everything you tell them.
Oh!
Be deleted deliberately.
I like this. Your arcane construct is still in the locker room where it planted the rapier. All we have to do is take a look inside it and we'll see the blood inside. Is that so, Mr. Cuthbert? What? Why does he still look so confident? No, Mr. Cuthbert, I already checked the inside of that construct during my investigation. The interior was completely clean. Oh, no. The construct's primary function is to assist and clean, dear Tyrion. They have a function that allows them to clean themselves inside and out. Well, we can still look at its command history, right? Think about it, Mr. Cuthbert. Do you honestly think the murderer would have left behind evidence like that? I'm sure whoever orchestrated the plot, they ordered the construct to wipe its logs when it was finished. No! That's right, Mr. Cuthbert. Your case against me is theoretical at best, but I suppose I can still give you marks for trying. What? Something that Neff would say. Damn it, he thought of everything. Was he seriously able to get rid of all the evidence? You're running out of options, but you still have one tool left. It's unbecoming to glare like that, young Tyrion. He's doing it again. Bring yourself back to that moment with Garrick Pierce. Think about what's at stake for Walsh, just like you did with Celeste. His life and his future are in your hands. Empowered Eye! Oh no, not the Empowered Eye. The Empowered Eye!
Aye, aye, aye.
Redmond did a good job of covering his tracks, but there has to be something he forgot to get rid of. Project. So how does this work again? So we have to project something we have in evidence here. There's a construct in the locker room. Let's see here. Construct's logic limitation?
Maybe?
Which would only be if, you can't even see what he said here. It might apply as if he was trying to execute a few commands at once. We could give that a shot. The construct's orders were clear. Plant the body in Lecture Hall 2B, and then plant the evidence in Frigga's locker. Oh, okay, so you can reveal what's more in his mind this way. It was supposed to head to the storage room afterward. What happened? Interesting, the construct wasn't supposed to be in the locker room? Okay.
Okay, so now we know that there's that. But wouldn't he have made sure?
Yeah. Construct in the locker room should have been construct in the storage room then.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we go with this. Unless anybody have another thought? Hearing none, I'm going to try this. Why was the construct in the locker room, though? It shouldn't have been there if it had followed my orders. No matter. It wiped its logs. They have nothing on me. So he did order it to wipe its logs. In order to cover all of its tracks, it probably would have done this last. Wait, he ordered the construct to go to the storage room? It would have done that after it was finished planting evidence in the locker room. But we found it in the locker room. What stopped the construct from leaving the locker room?
Okay, so
Oh.
someone or something
Uh-huh.
showed up unexpectedly.
Bree, do you have a... It sounds like Karam has an idea. Bree, do you have an idea?
No.
Okay. Liz, do you have an idea?
I'm wondering if because the locker plates were switched, that it stuttered out the order of command, so it didn't wipe its memory.
Oh.
The storage room.
Okay. What is your thought, Karam?
You were saying what stopped it? Wouldn't it be the lockdown system?
The lockdown system. Oh, when the... Yeah, you're right, because the lockdown system prevents anything from leaving all the rooms. Each individual room is locked down, right?
Yeah.
It creates magical
Yeah,
barriers.
cool.
Barriers can't be breached with physical or magic force. So that means, yeah. Then there's no way the construct would have left and gone to the storage room, because the locker room, like the rest of the building, was locked down. So I think that's very plausible there. And now, Liz, you think it was the what would you say it again? I'm sorry.
The nameplate being switched
Mm-hmm.
is what I think may have glitched it out. And they
Okay.
switched the ID numbers.
Okay. Let's do what she said first. No, that's not right. Oh. Redmond clearly didn't intend for the construct to end up in the locker room. Someone or something must have interfered with it. Well, in that case, it's got to be the lockdown. Right, the body was probably reported earlier than Redmond expected. This means he probably started the lockdown before the construct was finished in the locker room. How did the lockdown affect the construct's actions? But did this change anything? Oh boy.
Well, a series of commands was interrupted by
The
Redmond suit?
lockdown.
yeah.
Wallace's he gave a series of commands, and then one of them couldn't be executed because of the lockdown, which might have been the command then to leave that room. And when he couldn't execute that command, that was it.
Glitched and went flat.
No, the lockdown prevented the construct from leaving the room. Oh, no,
So it's Redmond, not Wallace.
You mean Redmond?
Redmond, I'm sorry. Yeah, Redmond. Right, the series of commands would have been interrupted. Wait a minute. Constructs executes a series of commands in the order they are given, but let's say one of those tasks is impossible to complete. When the construct gets to that task, it will deem the entire series impossible to complete. As a result, it will stop executing the series altogether. So if a task in a series of commands is impossible, then that command will interrupt the entire series. The construct's final command was to wipe its memory, but if its orders were interrupted by the lockdown, then... Miss Steelwind, I have nothing more to ask this witness. What? You're not giving up, are you? Do you even have to ask? Yeah, I thought so, but how are you going to prove he did it if he's not testifying? Don't worry, the next witness's testimony will be all I need. Next witness? That look in your face isn't one of defeat. Just what are you planning? Ha! It's nothing but desperate bravado. Now, if you'll excuse me. Uh-oh. You've let your quarry get away, Mr. Cuthbert. I hope you know what you're doing. I do, Miss Steelwind. First, I'd like for the Inquisition to bring in the arcane construct in the Academy's locker room. We've already established that the murderer could have wiped its history. Please, just humor me for a second, Miss Steelwind. Very well. Bailiff, please relay Mr. Cuthbert's request to Commander White. Well, here's your construct. I hope you know what you're doing, Mr. Cuthbert. Construct, what are your orders? Please recite your command history. Reporting. Command 1, stand by in Headmaster's office. Command 2, await vocal signal, attack from Theodore Redmond. You hear Redmond stand up from the gallery. Seeing this, the prosecutor watches him and carefully clutches the handle of her cane. Command 3, treat Catherine Bellwether as hostile entity and neutralize. Construct, wipe your... Hodl! Before he can finish his sentence, the prosecutor points her cane at the headmaster. Magical energy shoots from it and it collides directly with him. The magic wreathes around his body and stops him from moving. He's clearly trying to struggle against it, but it looks like he can't even move his mouth. Miss Steelwind, Excuse the interruption. Please continue. Command 4, await vocal signal, leave from Theodore Redmond. Command 5, move the classroom 2B, reply to any inquiries with voice line 3. Command 6, remove Catherine Bellwether from interior frame and place on floor. Thank you, Construct. You can stop now. I think we all know the rest. But just to be clear, who gave you these series of commands? Commands were provided by Headmaster Theodore Redmond. How? How? I ordered the Construct to wipe its command history. Mr. Redmond, Constructs don't follow the same logic that humans do. They're prone to error when their commands are impossible to execute. Impossible? In what way were my commands impossible? You were the one that made it impossible. You activated the lockdown system. The lockdown? The body was found earlier than you'd like. You had no choice but to immediately activate the lockdown system when it was reported. However, the Construct was still in the lock room when you did this. So that's why it was there. The Construct finished its tasks in the lock room, but then it tried to follow your next command. It tried to move to the storage room, but it was prevented from doing so. Completion of that command was impossible, so the series of command was stopped before it wiped its history. You little... Theodore Redmond, you ordered your Construct to murder Catherine Bellwether, then you had it place the murder weapon in a locker to frame Miriam Frigga. And we have your Construct's testimony to prove it. And that's checkmate. That's Tyrion's key phrase, I think, right? I can't believe it. How could you do something like this, Headmaster? She was going to take everything from me. My position, my academy, my students, everything would be gone. It was going to be stolen by her and the Friggas. Why didn't you say anything to me? I could have... Don't you dare stand there and act ignorant, Lady Steelwind. Do you think the Friggas acted alone? Your father was a part of this plot too. What? I have nothing to say to you. I thought you were different. I listened to your lies about societal reform. In the end, you were just like the rest of the aristocracy. By the Scaled Lord, what have I done? I was even willing to sacrifice poor Wallace. I can't believe Why did I listen? Why did I do this? It glitched again. It appears we have a full confession. The court sees no reason to prolong this any further. Bailiff, please escort the witness to a holding cell. Mr. Cuthbert, you really did it. It feels amazing, right? Like a big weight being lifted from your shoulders? It does, but I can't believe the headmaster was the one who did this. Right, despite everything Redmond did, he was the one that allowed Wallace to pursue his dreams. I'm sorry, I'm sure this is bittersweet for you. What am I going to do now? Headmaster Redmond was the only reason I could ever attend the academy. With him gone... Come on, don't think like that. You gotta quit it. I'm sure it'll all work out. You want to agree, but necromancy is basically taboo. Without Redmond's support, there aren't many places he could learn it legitimately. And then there's the Imperial Academy. Hey, don't you get all sad on me too. Sorry, I was just thinking, with Redmond gone, the Frigos will probably just appoint another sycophant as the headmaster. Sycophant. Valentina, Valerie, and Jan, they're all going to lose their jobs. Come on, you found the truth and you put a murderer behind bars. You saved Wallace. She's right. As you start to exit the courtroom, you're greeted by Miss Tamora. Was she in the gallery this entire time? At the end of the day, you saved Wallace from a wrongful conviction. You should be proud of yourself for that. I suppose you're right. Maybe I am just overthinking things, but the doubt still lingers in your mind. Now, come on, I'm taking Wallace to that restaurant we went to last time. Do you remember how much that place cost? Don't worry, I have plenty of gold. Am I the only one on this team not making any gold? Why don't you meet us there, Celeste? I need to talk with Tyrion for a moment. All right, let's go, Wallace. Okay. You activated the Empowered Eye again, didn't you? She doesn't appear to be praising you. I did. I didn't really have a choice. The Eye of Horus is a powerful tool, Tyrion, but that's twice now that you've used the Empowered Eye to get out of a tough spot. You can't keep relying on it if you want to grow as an attorney. One day you'll find a witness that the Empowered Eye won't work on. It's worked for me this far, though. But I suppose you're right. I'll try to rely on it less next time. And that marked the end of another case in my career as a defense attorney. Another life saved and another murderer brought to justice. But I still couldn't shake this feeling of uneasiness. Was it guilt for what would happen to the faculty staff? Or was it something else? Episode end! Man, Steelwind has been talking with the perp for hours. What's there to even ask at this point? Turns out she doesn't trust his testimony. Something about his memories not matching up with the crime scene. You don't think he has mage blight, does he? No, it's not that. She found that damn symbol etched into his desk. Or what did she call it? The purple mark? Oh, for the love of... not this again. Look, if the little lady wants to change the boogeyman, just let her. At least this time she's doing it personally instead of dragging us into it. Cast sleep. Oh. Hey! What's up with... Uh-oh. Who did this to your desk? What has gotten into you? I've already admitted to everything. What more could you possibly want from me? Where did this graffiti come from? What is this symbol? What is the purple mark? I don't know. A student must have done it at some point. Think very hard, Headmaster. When did you receive this purple symbol? Focus on the moment you received this. Wait. Wait a minute. I remember it now. But how? Uh-oh. Lady Steelwind! Lady Steelwind! Arya, what happened? Are you okay? That was close. My elation over meeting him almost made me forget. Eris, what are you doing here? Why? Wait, I remember now. It was you. You put those ideas into my mind. You're the one who told me to murder Bellwether. Oh, you humans never fail to amuse me. I didn't make you do anything. Everything you did that day, all the planning, all the preparation, that came from your own mind. And I have to say I was quite entertained with the scheme you came up with. Why, you even broke into Miriam's room. I didn't know you had it in you, old man. You made me forget about our conversation. But how? Illusions can't affect the mind. Magic can't affect the mind. But probably something she knows is how to control the mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was that called? Not one of these. It's a shame, though. I would have much rather turned Wallace into the antagonist of this chapter. Could you imagine if he turned? It would have been spectacular. Armies of the undead running rampant in the streets. But alas, even I couldn't corrupt this pure soul. Answer me, who are you? What are you? Who am I? I'm the Lord of the Sixth Circle. Ah!
Yeah.
Well. I guess that's Sayonara, Headmaster.
We might call him the Headless Master at this point. Yeek.
Hey, Junji, thank you for the resubscription. Much appreciated. AKA Epic Magical Red Panda. So, that will conclude episode number 2 of Tyrion Cuthbert, and right on time, it seems. Well, Liz, did you have fun with this chapter?
Yeah, it was really interesting. I'm honestly, I kind of like this better than the regular Ace Attorney, but being a big D&D nerd, it's kind of up my alley.
What do you think, Bree?
It was a little hard for me to jump back into the story.
Yeah, no worries.
It was still pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, we're left on a real cliffhanger now, aren't we?
Yep.
There you go.
Cam, you had some good thoughts. What are your thoughts on this whole Michigas?
I like it. I mean, it's getting weirder with all the twists and turns now, and submitting evidence 2 or 3 times in a row.
Right. And now meeting the Lord of the Sixth Circle.
Lord of Darkness.
Yeah, right. Neff, do you have any last thought here?
Well, I'll say this. I think the logic is a little sounder in this series of games, but there are moments where you're just going, what? But it was funny because I did pick out the suit of armor. I'll call it that. You know, being the transporter of the body, but it's like that was bizarre. I'm going. That takes some weird thoughts to think. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll take the dead body, stuff it in a suit of armor, and have it go marching along, and cast a illusion spell on it, so nobody knows I'm doing this. What?
Yeah. This thinks things out a little more. I guess it's from the perspective, actually, who the person who creates this games, or the people who create this game specifically. I think that is a little bit of a positive that Tyrion Cuthbert does have over Ace in that regard. But yes, that's very interesting, and I'm glad, despite the break, we're able to finish it on schedule, or on schedule, depending on where you're from. And that will conclude it for this week. If you'd like to follow up on everything that's going on, our Discord is our home to do that. linktree.com/anime radio. All the other ways you can reach us are there on your screen. I point you to XAR mascots because we do have some extra mascot happenings going on. New art projects coming out over the next few days. Really excited to show those. More Sarah and Yumemi coming away over at XAR Mascots. And we'll be off the air until probably Tuesday at the earliest. So if you observe it, we wish you a happy Passover, a happy Easter. We will see you early next week after Easter. In the meantime, remember,
keep on looking out for the Extreme Radio Twitch streams, and don't forget, archive versions of our podcast are available at xarpodcast.net. That's xarpodcast.net, or your favorite podcasting platform. Good night, everybody.
Good night. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Good night.
Night, everyone.
Good night.